Evening. I'm filming this intro pretty much near the end of my filming because I've done a really crappy job of being a YouTuber, because I'm not a YouTuber. I just film stuff I do and show you guys in case you're interested. But basically I've done loads of things which you'll see in this video. Good things, interesting things, cool things, tuning things. But have I filmed it very well? No. It's going to be loads of chopping and changing and bits and pieces and different things. So, bear with me. Fuel rail and fuel injectors are sorted. I decided upon using the standard 180 fuel rail in the end. And a small spacer. Pretty basic, needed longer bolts as well. But, you know, it's just, again, I'm using standard Volkswagen ID bolts. The same as the OE rail one, just a little bit longer, just off another part of the car, can't remember what. And the spacers are actually made from this really hard plastic, which is fine for that, because to be honest, the bolts and the injectors alone hold it steady. The actual spacers don't really do that much. Changed my mind about the plastic fuel rail spacers, so just made these. They are a metal tube with a washer either side, which basically makes it the right height. And I literally held them together. It's using epoxy, like JB Weld. And it's dry already. It turns out a heater makes JB Weld dry fast as fuck, and it's solid already. So happy days. That's the boost pipe back on with the new inlet, and that's a million times nicer and neater than the original setup, which also had the map and the air temp sensor in that sort of metal bit in the middle. But now it's a lot straighter, because before it used to have to go out and then sort of a double bend in. Now it's just a straight line and a 90 basically. So much nicer pipe run to the inlet manifold. Obviously injectors are on with my lovely spacers I made. Seems to work really well. So happy with that. So yeah, I'm getting close for it all being back together. Well, aside from putting the two boost pipes back on, well, the boost pipe and the inlet pipe, it's all back together. It's a million times tidier and easier to work on than it ever was. I mean, obviously the boost pipes are going there, but there is pretty much nothing now in that area. The vacuum block is now there rather than on the strut brace, and the pipes all go around it, so nothing's in the way. I've left the N75 valve on the strut brace because that was the only one that was a bit of a compromise. I thought, well, the wiring comes up from there and the boost pipe in comes from down there, you know, the vacuum pipe, you know, one to the wastegate, put it that way. So I thought, well, no matter where I pull it, everything's going in different directions. So I thought, fuck it, it's going in the middle. So vacuum block there, you've got a short distance to the N75, fairly short distance to the wastegate, and it means I don't have to extend the wiring from the loom either. And it's in a very accessible place, which is always good if you ever need to change a valve because it's knackered. I did the same sort of thing with the map sensor. I've put it there, which is a bit closer than it used to be, because it used to be over there. But I still kept it in a very accessible place and near the other wiring, because with both of these, one of the things I just didn't want to do is have wires going across here when I've basically completely cleared that area out. So yeah, happy with that. Love the boost pipe now being super short and straight. Everything else is nice and neat. So yeah, good times. Just doing the final steps to the engine, and I was doing the dipstick and realised there was another problem. With these new shorter runners, the dipstick no longer fits where it used to, which was between the runners, because obviously the rigid OEM dipstick, you can't really bend it, it just break. So it wasn't happening. And I mentioned it to Thomas, and straight away he had a solution. Magical rubber dipstick. Turns out he's done this before on a 19 TDI in a camper van. Basically, 19mm hose fits perfectly on the metal bit on the bottom of the block where the dipstick normally goes to. The top bit of the OE dipstick fits perfectly into the 19mm hose too. So as long as you've got the correct length, then you've automatically got yourself a perfect flexible dipstick. So easy and job done. I'm glad, because I didn't think of this. That's a dipstick in position, which is the better position than it's ever been, because before it's normally behind the fuel rail, but obviously with flex it can be in front now, so dead easy. Happy days. Right, it's time to do some stuff on the head for the other car. Basically, I want to fit stiffer exhaust valve springs to this. I've got some, bought some off somebody. I don't think I want to do the inlets because they're a massive pain in the ass to do on this, and it's going to have standard cams and not rev to the moon anyway. I'm doing this to not get valve float due to exhaust back pressure. So, because even the KO4 equipped cars came with a washer under the valve spring to basically increase the spring tension a bit. And that's on a poxy little KO4. You know, the normal KO3S ones and whatever didn't. So if they think it's an issue, my concern's probably correct. That's the cams and lifters out. Lifters there, they all look really good, so reusing them, no question. That's exhaust valves out. Everything still looks good. It's all there. So I'm now gonna just give it a little clean, although it's bloody clean anyway, which is why I chose this one. And I know it's a good head, it was on the old engine. And then I'm gonna chuck the brand new exhaust valves in, because obviously that is a weak point on these. And the valve springs at the same time, and whack it all back together. Right, so that's the top end of the engine done. So new exhaust valves and double exhaust valve springs. It's all back together. New gaskets, new everything, new seals, all timed up, all good. So the head's complete, the block's prepared, I've got all the bits. I guess really the next job is build the whole bottom end. So the final piece of the puzzle on this, which was the new rear engine gearbox mount, whatever the hell you want to call it, is done, and it's pretty badass. Let me show you. There it is. It's heavy duty M14 rose joints, custom bracket Thomas made, a custom bar Thomas made that's like ridiculously thick, and it goes into the plate, which is why I wanted one of these plates, just so we could use it as a basis. Well, it's not so much a plate, we wanted the threaded sections basically, so it's a basis for this. So what this is doing is there's one bolt from this going right through the plate, and you can see the plate is thick as hell, so there's nowhere there. And then just like the dog bone mount on a standard 18T, it goes to a second bolt further back with a like a connector. I don't know if I can show you, but like a super thick metal connector bracket thing. It goes to a second bolt, and that bolt threads into one of these. So pretty certain that is gonna do the job, and then some. There shouldn't be any issue there. The only thing left to do on this car before it's driven is adjust the gear linkage again, which is a super quick job. With me in the driver's seat and Thomas adjusting it, I can just tell him when it feels how I want it, and you can nip up the bolts. But that's going to be done, well, tomorrow, so the next video. But what I have done is maybe temporarily remove the quick shift. I have completely swapped the gear lever setup with the one that was in my yellow MR2. Reason being, the one that was in here with the quick shift, it had absolutely shitloads of play, and it also was very, I don't know how to explain it. I would say vague. It was quite tricky at times. I mean, you've seen videos. I might put a clip in here. Driving fast, it's a fucking weapon. You know, I can change gear super fast. But pottering along, it was very vague, difficult to work out what gear is about to go in. I don't really know how to explain it, and I don't know if it was the play or the fact the quick shift made it too short throw, or a combination of both. So I'm going to try it with the standard throw lever, because to be honest, the standard throw's not, you know, long anyway. So this, you know, this might not affect the gear change at all. It might just be better, because generally it's a lot less vague. I can feel that, and it's a lot more sort of obvious what gear you're going in. But I'm going to try that, see what the gear changes are like, because that's key for me, the super fast gear changes. If they're still okay like this can stay. If not, I'll do a bit more experimenting with the quick shift to see why it had play, because it could be two things. It could be the ball bit on the quick shift has been made, you know, a few thousandths too small, so it had too much play, or it could be the old gear, whatever you want to call that thing, gear stick tower, maybe that's worn out on that other one, and that's why there was too much play. But I don't know without sort of doing some experiments. But first experiment is back to the original and see how it is, because I've never driven this with the normal one. I've driven standard engine MR2s with the normal one, and the shift is fast and good, so it might be fine. I mean, the main reason I bought the quick shift in the first place was for the solid mounts. I didn't so much care about a quicker shift, so I need to drive it like this and see how it is. If it's fine, it can stay like this. If not, time to have a play with the quick shift and work out how to make it better. But I've been doing some experiments tonight, and I will show you what I've done with them as well, because it's gear stick related, and it'll probably be done for this car too, but I've tried it on the other car just because, you know, I wanted a proof of concept first. I've not finished it even, but I'll show you what I've done, and it's pretty bloody good. I've had an idea and I've made it possible. I had this idea ages ago and I thought it'd be possible, and we tried it just by putting a box there and sitting in the driver's seat and see how it felt, and it felt amazing. It was like, we've got to do it, and I just thought, fuck it, I'm gonna have a go, and I made this. It's literally only tack welded together at the moment, but it's basically exactly how it should be. It's already fucking rock solid, and what it is simply some extension feet that I made to get it to the right height, how I want it, and it's bloody good. Basically what I did, I got some roll cage tubing and some flat circles either end, and with those circles, one end I welded a bolt, so it made it basically a captive bolt. The other end I welded a nut to make it a captive nut. So you simply thread in the extensions into the chassis like you would normally have the bolt. It bolts, you know, the original in. So you screw them in, and then you use the original bolts and mounts. Obviously this has got the solid mounts again. Original bolts and mounts into this, and job done. Rock solid. I mean, literally the car fucking rocks when you do that, but it makes the gear stick exactly where you want it. So very happy with that. I think with the quick shift especially, that's going to be fucking brilliant. One issue though, and I noticed this I noticed this before I even built one, and this is, I thought was going to be the kind of sticking point, was it's going to be in the way of the handbrake, and it was. And I thought, well, you know, I could mount the handbrake somewhere else, somewhere different, re-drill some holes and mount it elsewhere and all that. And then I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to cut the handbrake down. So I've cut basically a couple of inches off it, and it clears now perfectly. Obviously it's not even going to go up that far because the cable's disconnected, but you know, I'm not tidied it up yet. I literally just chopped it and put it all together just as a proof of concept, but it's actually really fucking good. So yeah, job done. I'm going to finish these. I'll probably put it in the other car, or make another to put in the other car. Either way, the mission is complete, and I've got a proper raised race car style gear lever, which is exactly what I want. Because again, anyone who's driven a car when it's like this, honestly, it's so good. On some cars, in my experience, I have classed it as like my favorite part of the car. You know, we're talking proper hardcore modified racy cars, and the fact the gear lever was where it was honestly like my favorite bit. It just feels so fucking right when you're driving fast, and it's just good. It's just good. So yeah, that's all for me for this video. Sorry it's a bit of a clip show where I've just filmed loads of random bloody things that I've been doing, millions, you know. It's just a bit of everything. Not very YouTube-y, but I ain't no Adam Malsey. I'm just some fucker building fast cars for very little money. But as you'll see, because of this progress, the next video, that car will be driving, because engine mount's done now. So literally it's going to be 10 minutes sorting the linkage out tomorrow, and then it's back on the road. So stay tuned, won't be long to the next one, and see you next time. Ta-ra.